All right, my loves, welcome back. I am so excited to be here with you. When I was thinking about what I wanted to bring to you today, this idea came through instantly. Like there wasn't even space in my mind or in my heart to toy with anything else. It was like spirit came through. And the way that I see intuitive information often, it's almost like a marquee in my mind's eye. And it was the word lessons. I was like, okay, that's really cool. That's really interesting. But what else? What kind of lessons am I supposed to share? And so I just grabbed my iPad and I started writing down different lessons that I've learned that feel like they're the most important lessons. Lessons that have had the biggest impact on me throughout my life, throughout business. And what I realized was that many of these lessons have happened during my time as an entrepreneur. And now, for anybody listening, what I need you to know is that whether you're an entrepreneur or not, I promise, and I don't use that word lightly, I promise that you're going to get so much out of this because these do not just apply to entrepreneurship. These apply to pretty much everything and anything. But the reason I believe that many of these can be connected to my journey of entrepreneurship, and here's the fun thing, I didn't do this on purpose. As I was listing out these lessons, I was noticing how some of them were connected and I put them in one line item, but I realized there were 10 lessons. There were 10 lessons. There's going to be a bonus share because I'm all about the bonuses. And also, hi, this is a spiritual podcast. I'm a spiritual coach, and our favorite number is 11. It's the ultimate number of manifestation. So we're going to have 10 lessons from my 10 years as an entrepreneur. I think that's fun. It's like an alliteration, but with numbers. And then there's going to be a bonus one. So pull up a seat, get your favorite beverage, and let's dive in together. If you don't have a journal, you're probably going to want to grab one of those. So I want you to know that these are in no order of importance. To me, they're all so important and they're all so powerful. I just wrote them down in chicken scratch in my iPad and then nicely put them in my notebook to share them with you. So if you've been in my world for any amount of time, this first one is going to be like a no-brainer, but it's a really big deal. And this is not something that I knew at the beginning of my journey. I wish I would have known this earlier. So these are the most important lessons I've learned. I also wrote down, what do I wish I would have known before this journey? If I could go back and share anything with a past version of myself, what would I say? What would I share? So number one is the fact, and this is rooted in science. When I say fact, I mean fact, that your external reality is determined by your inner world. I really wish that I would have prioritized inner work, my mindset, my energy, heart work, somatic work way earlier on. Now, I don't know about you, but there's something in me that I'm innately an action taker. I'm a self-starter. If there's something that I want, I will literally do whatever I possibly can to go after that thing and to get that thing and to make it happen. And I did that a lot at the beginning of my business. And the amount of effort that I was putting in did not match the results. There was a huge discrepancy there. And I took the actions, I did the strategies, I did what I thought I was supposed to do. I took all the advice from all of the experts, and I didn't actually experience a breakthrough until I turned my focus from the external world and what I was doing out here and shifted that inward. That was what changed the game for me. And I was at that point, I had been in business for about 2.5 years. And so not too long, but had I known that from the get-go, had I known that earlier on, things could have been so much easier and they could have gone so much more smoothly. And that same concept of your external world being determined by your internal world, I've used that with my marriage. I've used that as a mother. I've used that in friendships. I've used that in my health, in every area of my life. And so it's such a big one, so important. One thing that I like to say, this is a tweetable. I don't have a Twitter, so I can't tweet this, but if you want to tweet this, go ahead and quote me because this is all mine. Your energy and your mindset are the greatest contributing factors to your success. So take care of yours. Your energy and your mindset are the greatest contributing factors to your success. So take care of yours. The second one, I think I structured these in a way that they would be connected and they would flow together. Number two, guys, I'm not a health coach. Like, I'm not here to give you health advice. But what I wrote down was as your health increases, your wealth increases. And what I have known to be true is that life is so much better. And I am so much more successful in the seasons where I really, truly prioritize my health, quite literally, my physical health. But when we think about health from the context of the work I do and the people I serve, there's your physical health, there's your mental health, there's your spiritual and your emotional health. And there might be something that someone else experiences where their success is through the roof and they're not actually caring for their body. And that is, I'm happy for them. But my experience is things just go so much better when I prioritize me and my body and my emotions and my mental state. There was something really interesting it was a couple of years ago. And I'm really quick. If you know me, I've invested so much money, so much money, so much time in my business and my growth and my healing. And I don't actually regret any of those investments. This is not one of the lessons. It was going to be, I'm going to weave it in here. I don't regret any of those investments. Some of them I probably could have done without, or the thing I got from that investment was a lesson and I had to learn it the hard and the expensive way. Has anyone else ever had that happen before? But there was a period of time where I was quick to invest in my business or in myself in a way that I could have it prove like a return on investment in my business, but I had never invested a lot of money just straight up in my health. And I knew that I wanted to feel better. And I made a really big investment. You guys, I invested in a health coach $3,000, which to me, that was a drop if it came to business investments. But in my health, it was like this whole mental gymnastics. Like, who am I to invest this much money in my physical health? I did that in February. The next month, that March, my business brought in $25,000 cash, which was like, prior to that, our best month in the DKC brand was 15K. And so that was insane. And I am absolutely certain that there was a piece of my body and my health and my vessel. Of course, I was doing other things, like I was launching things and I was going live. I can't say I started lifting weights and all of a sudden there was this extra 25K in my bank account, but I know for a fact, without a doubt, that there was a connection there. And when I say, as your health increases, your wealth increases, there's this way that I like to spell wealth. I like to spell it WELLTH. Get it? Yeah. Wealthy. Let's get wealthy in all the ways. Number three, this one's kind of a kick in the pants, friends. So just brace yourself. But the concept and the power behind radical responsibility, understanding and honoring how freaking powerful you are. And the fact that I don't like to say that you're the creator of your life. I refer to myself as the co-creator because I believe that I'm constantly co-creating with spirit. I'm not here doing this whole life and business and creating these extraordinary experiences for myself and others. I'm not doing this on my own. I believe that there is a spiritual force, a force that I call God. You might call it something else that I'm in constant co-creation with. But what I know, and I had a hard time admitting this. I'll never forget when I hired one of my first healers and she was, "Oh, Dani, you're for sure spending the majority of your time in victim mode." And I was, record stop. What? What did you just say to me? And I didn't like her for saying that in that moment. And I wanted to deny it. Like, how dare you say that? But I really, you guys, I sat with it and I realized so much of my life is based on the overcoming and the struggle and how hard I've worked. And not to say that like that's not true, because that is true for me. And that might be true for any of you listening, but I noticed that I was wearing that as a badge of honor and holding on to that and wanting people. I didn't necessarily share my story everywhere, but there was this energy radiating off of me. And it was almost, there were moments where I wanted people in some kind of like weird backwards way to feel bad for me. And it was almost like that victim mentality was going to make my success that much sweeter. And it didn't. It actually just made creating the results harder. And so you might have your own flavor of that, or some of what I just shared might be spot on for you. But regardless if you can relate to the victim piece or not, being able to take radical responsibility for your life and your results, you might have a kick in the pants moment where you're like, oh, I don't know if I like that. But the longer you sit with it, the more empowering it becomes because you realize that there's no excuse. There's no one who's going to come save you. There's no one else who's going to do the work for you. There's no one else who's going to get you that result. And the faster you realize that, the quicker and easier and more fun it is to get in the driver's seat and go make it happen. So that one concept was such a game changer for me. And I feel it's something that I get to come back to again and again. Number 4, I wish I would have celebrated myself more from the beginning. I wrote, celebrate yourself more. Celebrate yourself for anything and everything. The big stuff, the small stuff. You ticked one box off of your to-do list. Fun fact, when I make a to-do list, I actually make a to-da list. I write to-da instead of to-do because it's way more fun when you check off the boxes. So we don't make to-do lists around here. We make to-da lists, but I want you to celebrate every moment you can. Like, can we have 10 mini celebrations every single day? I promise if you do that, you will get to where you want to go so much faster. There's a quote, I hear this attributed to Oprah. I love me some Oprah, but I feel it's probably an ancient proverb because it's so powerful and so true. But what you appreciate appreciates. The more you celebrate, the more life is going to give you to celebrate. And I feel going back to that, the struggle bus and the victim and like the overcomer, we get to honor those parts of ourselves, but we don't have to struggle every moment of every day. And I think because I was holding on to that for so long, I withheld celebration. It was no, 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 no. You don't get to celebrate. You don't get to really enjoy that thing. You don't get to fully receive it till you do a little more, till you work a little harder, till you push a little bit further. Can you relate to that? So let's just celebrate way more often. And then that leads me to lesson number 5. This came through. It's such like a simple truth. And I was doing something recently, something random. I get my best ideas in the shower or brushing my teeth, washing my hair. And what came through was self-love will take you so much further, so much faster than self-criticism and self-judgment. Amen. Amen. Do I like this one? I mean, I want to say I like it. I don't really like it. I am, like I said, I invested so much money in healing. And every time things are not working, I will sit down with a coach, a mentor, or a healer and just I'm so angry and make it throw in a little tantrum. They're like, oh, wow, what do you think would solve this? And I'm like, just really being nicer to myself, loving myself a little bit more. But I want to do that because I didn't work hard enough. And it's this cycle and it's this pattern. And it's why do we do this? I don't know. I don't know if you do that. I do that. And so this little download of self-love will take you so much further, so much faster than self-criticism and self-judgment ever will. That was for me, fam. Was it for you too? Maybe it was for you. It was for me. One of my greatest lessons. And I do feel after 10 years of being hit up beside the head with this, I'm starting to get it. And the whole self-love piece is getting easier and easier, and it's becoming more natural and it's really fun. And it's also super special because if you don't know this, I'm a mom of 3, and my 2 older kids are girls. And I don't know, maybe boys need this too. My boy is only 2. He's not even 2 years old. So like I'm still learning how to be a really good boy mom. I feel like a pretty masterful girl mom, but I feel like I can teach this to my kids. I'll tell my girls, I'll say, wow, that was amazing. I'm so proud of you. Are you proud of? Because it's great if mom's proud of you, but no one else is. love and pride matters more than your own in yourself. And I'll say, mommy loves you. Do you love you? And it catches them off guard. And I didn't learn this language till I was like 28 years old. So start them young, fam, if you can. Number 6. Ooh, okay. This one is spicy. This one, I actually was at a conference last year. So this is a new one. But this one, like I was sitting in a chair and she said this and I was falling out of my chair. And she did not just say that. Her name is Aisha. She's absolutely amazing. And she said, what you think others think about you is actually what you think about you. Let that land. What you think others think about you, it's getting hot in here, I'm sweating, is actually what you think about you. You guys, this changed my life. Oh, goodness. Because then what did I do? I started thinking about, well, what do I think other people think about me? And I'm going to be really vulnerable with you. Okay. You guys didn't know this about me. You're about to know this about me. I have this fear. I have this assumption. It's not funny. I'm smiling. It's not funny at all. That people don't take me seriously. That people don't take me seriously because I'm just like this bouncy, happy bundle of joy. And if you meet me in real life, you see what you get. This is not a different this is how I am all the time. And I feel I'm different than most people. And I don't think that's a bad thing. But because of the way that I show up and who I am and the way I'm uniquely designed, I feel, why would they ever actually take me seriously? But if you're listening to this right now, you probably do take me seriously. Otherwise, you wouldn't have made it this far. And so what does that mean? That means that on some level, I don't take me seriously. Oh, it feels so good to get that out. Feels so good to get that out. So think about that. I just went first. I just shared something really deeply vulnerable with you. The first thing that crossed my mind. And I got to tell you that there's other things on that list, but that's the top one. That's the top one. So I want you to think about, like, when you walk into a room, when you're meeting someone new, what is the first thought you think? Oh, I hope they don't think that about me. I wonder what their perception is of me. I wonder how they view me, because that's actually information from you about you. Number 7. Oh, not going to name any names here. I'm going to try to be real discreet, but I don't take advice. I did in the beginning, but not anymore. I don't take advice from anyone who is not where I am going. If you're not on the path, if you're not a couple steps ahead, if I wouldn't trade places with you, I love you and I don't care what you have to say about that thing. And this isn't like end all be all. There might be somebody, like, if you're not an entrepreneur, I'm not going to ask you for advice on entrepreneurship. There may be a rare case where, like, having an outsider's perspective, someone you trust, asking like for loving reflection. I think there's times for that, like, where that's okay. But I'm not going to take serious entrepreneurial advice from someone who's not an entrepreneur. Now, that person, they might not be a great entrepreneur, but they might be a great mother and a great wife. And yes, please, if I'm having a hard day in one of those areas, then I might go to them for that. So it's not end all be all. It's not like I don't listen to anybody, but I'm very discerning, and I wasn't always this way. The voices and the noises used to be so loud, and they're not anymore. I want to be really honest with you. I actually don't take advice from very many people these days. If I'm paying you a lot of money, I'll take your advice. Or if I'm really struggling, the reason I don't take advice anymore is because I've developed such a deep sense of trust within myself that when something's going on and I need a solution or something's not working or there's an answer I'm looking for, it wasn't always this way, but it is now. What do? I close my eyes. I put my hand over my heart. I say a prayer. And I know that between me and God, we've got it figured out. We've got it figured out. So there's that. Number 8, these are so guys, these are like a really good one. Learning what my yes and what my no feels. So there's a somatic, if you're not familiar with that word, soma means body. For me, as an empath, and one of my top intuitive gifts is clairsentience, which is clear feeling. I know if I take a minute to slow down, let go of distraction, drop into my body, I know what a yes in my body feels like. I know what a no feels like. Learning that, understanding that was such a game. It's like why I don't ask advice anymore because me and God, we got it. And so not just there's 2 parts to this one, not just learning what a yes and a no feels like for you, but once you learn it, you gotta honor it. You gotta listen. It's two-parter there. Two-parter there. Because once you learn it, if you don't listen, you're gonna get yourself into some sticky situations, you're gonna be mad at yourself. Don't do that. So learn your sacred yes, learn your sacred no, and do everything humanly possible to honor those things. Number 9, we're almost there. I know you don't want it to be over. I don't want it to be over, so we'll stretch it out here. Number 9, detachment and impermanence. These are 2 different things, but they're gonna go together. Now, the story behind this, when people ask me, like I've been on other podcasts and I've been doing this work for a while and I love speaking and I love teaching. And a lot of times when people have asked a question, and I feel like it's a common question, like, what's the greatest lesson you've learned in entrepreneurship? Or what, I don't know why I said it like that, rolling my eyes, what's the greatest lesson you've ever learned? Or if you could tell yourself at the beginning of your journey anything, I actually typically start with this one. And it is don't ever get too attached to anything and to learn how to embrace change. So, what I mean by that is whether it's in life or entrepreneurship or your career. And I'm not saying this to be like a Debbie Downer or a negative Nancy. I don't want to like bust anyone's bubble here, but nothing lasts forever. And so while the going is good, savor the goodness, let it in. And it doesn't mean just because the good, it's not always going to be this way forever. That doesn't mean that it's not going to get better and better and better and better. But what will happen is even when we let go of good so that we can experience great, that requires change. Things are going to change. They're going to look different. They're going to feel different. So I'm not saying, oh, enjoy where you're at because other shoe's going to drop and you're going to fall on your face and it's going to suck forever. No, 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 no. Focus on the good and the good gets better. And then it gets better. And then it gets better. And then it gets better. That's the way that I have these kinds of mantras all over the place. You probably could have guessed that about me. But change, even really good change, can be hard. And for many of us, change can be dysregulating for the nervous system. So I remember really early on, it took me a while to get things going inside of my business. And then I felt like I had made it. I was doing the strategy and then I paired it with the energy and the mindset work. And I was like on top of the world. It was amazing. And things were working. And we did it. Like I'm going to just my feet up and we did it. And then it stopped working so great. And I was like, wait, what? And I had to figure out something new. And so I stopped saying to myself, oh, we've made it. We're here. We're done. Because that's never actually the case. And I'm going to share with you the bonus number 11. You are going to love this, but it speaks to that. So leaning in and understanding and trusting the themes of detachment and impermanence were really big for me. I really wish that someone would have told me, like, hey, things are going to change. Don't get too comfortable in one spot. Because when you're in it for growth, when you're in it for evolution, when you're in it for expansion, you don't want it to stay the same. That defeats the purpose of the journey that we're on together. There's that. Number 10. Nobody knows what they're doing. Do you guys remember those? It was like a British thing, and it was like the keep calm, carry on. And it was the red with the crown in the middle. And then there was like all these keep calm and da 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 da. I think I was really early on in business, first 3 or 4 years. And I remember I mean, Instagram, I don't think existed then because I'm old. I'm a business grandma is what I call myself. Maybe it was Facebook. And I remember having a really hard day. And there was one that popped up on my feed and it said, keep calm. No one knows what they're doing anyway. And I remember bursting into tears of joy and relief. And I was like, I am not the only one. I'm not the only one who doesn't know what she's doing. Even if you pretend you know what you're doing, you might actually know what you're doing now. But when you first started, you didn't know what you were doing. You just figured it out. We're all just figuring it out. There's this meme that's been going around and it says, nobody knows what they're doing. Nobody. Not even the ones with degrees and big job titles and more things than you. Not even the people on your vision board. Everyone is just trying loudly, failing loudly, and then trying again. And so should you. Nobody actually knows what they're doing. We're just flying around at rapid pace on this big rock, and we're a blip, and this experience is a blip. So let's just have some fun. Let's take some of the pressure off. Maybe we shouldn't take ourselves too seriously. Maybe my worry about people not taking me seriously is irrelevant because I'm just here for a good time and I'm here to have fun and I'm here to make people smile and make people's lives better. And I'm going to do that in the way that feels most like it is for me. So those are my 10 lessons. Before I send you off with so much love, I want to share something with you. I love this so much. I actually read this book. I highly recommend it. I believe it was published in the 1980s. I call this the first life coaching book that ever existed. The book is called, and it's a really good book, and I have it somewhere in one of my bookshelves. I actually should be here I have a shelf right behind me with my favorite books, and I actually can't believe I didn't put it on there because I like to reference those. It's called If Life is a Game, These Are the Rules. If life is a game, these are the rules. 10 rules for being human. Ready? And you can Google these. You can take notes if you want, or you can Google it. But it says, number 1, you will receive a body. You may love it. You may hate it, but it will be yours for the duration of your time on earth. Number 2, you will learn lessons. This whole episode has been about lessons. You will learn lessons. You, my love, are enrolled in a full-time informal school called life. Each day in this school, you will have the opportunity to learn lessons. You may like the lessons, you may hate them, but you have designated them as part of your curriculum. Number 3, there are no mistakes. There's no failure. There's only lessons. Growth is a process of trial and error. It's experimentation. The failed experiments are just as much a part of the process. They are just as important as the experiments that ultimately work. Love that one. That one gave me chills when I read that one. Number 4, a lesson is repeated until it is learned. I don't like this one, but it's true. A lesson will be presented to you in various forms until you've learned it. When you've learned it, you can then be promoted to the next lesson. Number 5, the learning does not end. There is no part of life that does not contain lessons. If you are alive, there are lessons to be learned. Oh, this is so good. There is no better than here. When you're there has become here, you will simply obtain another there that will again look better than here. Little bit of a riddle there, but I think you're picking up what I'm putting down, yeah? Others are only mirrors of you. You cannot love or hate something about another person unless it reflects something you love or hate about yourself. Each reflection is simply an opportunity for growth, aka a lesson. What you make of your life is up to you. You have all of the tools and all of the resources you will ever need. What you do with them is up to you. The choice is yours, aka radical responsibility. See how this all fits together? We're almost done. Number 9. I don't want it to be over. I almost said number 8 again. Number 9, your answers lie inside of you. The answers to life questions lie inside of you. All you need to do is look, listen, and trust. And number 10, you will forget all of this at birth. You can remember it whenever you want. How I feel so honored to help you remember these lessons because this is so wonderful. So again, that was 11. That was our bonus directly from If Life is a Game, These Are the Rules, the 10 Rules for Being Human, a fantastic book, an old school book with timeless wisdom. It is by a woman. Her name is, I want to say, Sherry Carter Scott. Yes, Sherry Carter Scott. So I hope you enjoyed this today. This was so much fun. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Thank you for letting me share my 10 top lessons from 10 years as an entrepreneur, lessons that you can literally apply to any area of your life and of your business. And see you again next time.